There's some weird stuff happening on these apps. DoorDash keeps changing and changing and changing. Uh, have you seen these weird zones? I'm gonna show you this right now.
It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes. Got up and I beat those eyes. It's understood. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. And now I'm good. Wake up and I do my part. Wake up and I do my job. Just how I should. It was always me versus me. It was never me versus you. Misunderstood. Get up, had to beat those eyes.
All right, guys. So I have seen, actually, I saw one time Nova had posted about this. I believe one of his subscribers sent him over a picture of his zone in their market. And I just saw this one and I was trying to think, why would they be doing this? Why would they be messing with the zones? Why are they making the zones look a little different? Um, some of these people's reasoning behind why makes sense. But on top of showing you what the zones look like, I want to show you the email that was sent by DoorDash when these zones change, just so you can get some understanding on what DoorDash is saying is happening with these weird looking zones, like weird looking zones. It definitely looks strange. Let me show you the first one. All right, right here, guys. Take a look at this. Look at this little, you got regular zone, regular zone, regular zone, squiggly zone, squigglies. So why? Why are they doing test little zones here and there with these little squiggly looking zones? This one is in California, as you can see. But I believe Nova's friend lives in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Subscriber there lives in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. But look at these little squiggly zones here. Now, why? What is the point of that? Why not just fill in the zone like you normally would have the zone filled in? What would be the advantage for either the Dasher or DoorDash for this zone to be weird like this? You have to think, guys. You have to. One thing we all know. One thing we all know. Over this time of being a part of DoorDash, one thing we all just come to realize, DoorDash doesn't do anything just for us. So this is not to benefit us. So we have to, that's why our brains start thinking so negatively all the time, because we've been wool pulled over our eyes so many times in the past that we are just used to the constant beatdown, especially when it comes to an app like DoorDash. Let's read some of the reasoning. First off, let's read the email that came through from DoorDash, and then we'll go into some of the reasonings behind this, so we can understand a little more. Right here, we're testing some changes to zone shapes. So if your zone looks a little different, that's expected. We're changing the shapes of your zones to better reflect where offers typically happen in your area. What's changing? We've updated the zones to focus more on areas with the most activity. This means your zone is now centered around where offers are most likely to happen, helping you stay closer to the action when you dash. What do you need to do? Just keep dashing as usual. If you don't see the dash now option anymore, you can click on your usual zone. If you don't see, this is huge, guys. Just listen to what they're saying. If you don't see dash now option anymore, you can click on your usual zone to see dash along the way, which you can start to head towards your zone. So this is like for the platinum people. This comes in your area. You can't normally click dash now because guess what? You're in one of these little weird areas that you're not really in a zone anymore. So keep that in mind. Um, what's the you're out of zone banner means and why you might see it more often? You might notice their you're out of zone banner more during this test. More during this test. Why are we hold on. Where was I? During this test. This banner doesn't mean anything is wrong. It's just a reminder that you'll get offers faster when you're inside of the zone. So so people wake up one day, right? They wake up, um, hold on. So let me get it straight. People are waking up one day and their zones are all flicked, right? They got this little squiggly zones happening. But they used to wake up in a zone where they could just dash now, right? But now they are in this zone where dash now is taken away. They have to dash to this little squiggly zone because their zone is no longer a full zone. It's a zone that is surrounding merchants and not like the full like I live in Metairie. It's not the full Metairie. It's just surrounding merchants is a zone now. This is very weird. Very weird. Why are we testing this change? By updating zone shapes to better reflect where offers typically happen, we're hoping to make dashing more efficient by reducing the time dashers spend waiting for orders. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out to our support team. We're here to help. Thank you for being part of the Dasher community. So this is happening. This is it's happening more and more. I'm seeing it popping up. I saw it one time and then I saw Nova put it and then now I'm starting to see it more and more, which means that they're rolling out this test to a lot more markets, which means that it's probably going to be a very real thing in the near future for all of us. Um, Now here is some reasoning people are thinking about why this is happening, and this was my first thought too when I saw that when they said that about the dash now is gone now because you're not technically in the zone anymore. You have to drive to the zone. Here's the first thing. Dash Mandarin. Yep, it's exactly that. They're offer peak pay for a zone, but make it look like this so that 80% of the pickup area outside the peak pay zone, if it doesn't qualify, while the drop off will be in a peak pay zone. I don't agree with this one simply because I have dropped off in non peak pay zones. And if I accept the order in the peak pay zone, then I'm good when I do the drop off. But what he's saying is if you're accepting orders when you're not in the squigglies, that's technically not the peak pay zone. So when you drop it off, you're thinking you're in the zone, but you're not in the zone because you're not in the squiggly and you normally would have been in the zone. Let's call it a squiggly. This is now called a squiggly zone. Squiggly zone. Anyway, so if you're not, what he's saying is if you're not in the squiggly, even though you're in the zone and can still get orders, you're not going to qualify for the peak pay when dropping off. Oh my God. If that's true, I don't know. Don't hold that to me because I can't test it because it's not here. But if that's true, that's crazy. I feel like this next one is most likely they're sneaky, man. There are some freaking sneaky geniuses. I mean, DoorDash is genius. They really are, but they're sneaky geniuses. This next one really resonated with me here. That's why they're doing it. You can't even dash along the way from home anymore. Once the delivery service period begins, i.e., once you have accepted a trip offer, DoorDash is on the hook for liability. If you can dash now from home, which that is gone because the rural areas have been carved out. It is only like, unless you live next to the restaurant, it is only like the restaurant areas is what they're saying this new squiggly zones are. Anyways, if you can't dash now from home, that means you can't accept offers from home, i.e., the delivery service period would start the moment you depart from home. You are most likely to experience a vehicular accident within a certain radius of your home by forcing you to stay offline and travel into a narrowed zone. DoorDash absolves themselves of liability for that portion of that drive. They're trying to cut, they're trying to cut their insurance costs, just like with the safe driving program. This makes a lot, I'm talking about, this makes a lot of sense. Even if it's 20% of the time you're driving towards that cuts them down by 20% of the time you're on the road. Because you're not online, you have to wait till you get there in order to get online. Very, very, very interesting observation here in regards to this. Now, I don't know, guys. Have you seen these zones testing out in your market? Hold on, getting an exclusive order. Let's take a look. We're taking a look live. We're live. Oh, it's not bad. Roly poly. This one is $48, but the problem is they sent me one. Yeah, I can never do both. And that's the problem. I can never do both because I already had a decent one. Yeah, I would take this one. Yeah. But anyways, guys. Wow. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me that they're working on ways to just screw us. They're just behind the scenes, just working on ways to like, we don't know what's really happening because they're never gonna tell us what's really going on, why they're doing this. They're never gonna tell us. Let me know if you've experienced this in your area, seeing that these new squiggly zones are popping up. And if you have, what do you think this matters to you guys?
The Nola Grind, yeah, that's who I be. Red Tesla, full charge, rolling down Boyden Street. Pocket aces, DoorDash receipts. Trying to build heaven with hell at my feet.